In this video, I'm going to let you in on one of the top cash flow killers that, if left unchecked, will devalue your property and make your cash flow go negative. Hi, I'm Christian with Landlord Advocates. We're all about providing you with the tools and resources to make sure that you make more money and you get to keep some more in your pocket. This video is a part of the full 27-point Cash Flow Killer Masterclass, and you can download it for free right now if you click the link here or here. With that, let's get started and dive right in. Let's take a look at Cash Flow Killer, let's say 26. Grenade pin leases. Now, this is one of my favorites because I love the analogy. Of course, everyone really probably knows how a grenade works, right? You have the grenade, you have the pin, you pull out the pin, and everything's fine for probably 5 or 6 seconds, and then explosion. Okay, this is what we're talking about with leases. Of course, a lease is a binding contract between the landlord and the tenant. Arguably, this is probably the most important piece of paperwork that will ever be signed if you are a landlord. I'm not talking about contracts with property management companies or anything if you're self-managed. I'm talking about the lease is the most important part. So if it's the most important part, you can kind of see why I'm saying this is not something you want to skimp on, right? Okay, because you can get leases anywhere. We're in the 21st century. We have Google, we have Bing, we have YouTube, we have all these awesome online tools, right? You could go on Google right now, exit out of my video because you probably think I'm dumb and don't know what I'm talking about. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But if you go on Google, you can type in lease, right? And it'll just pop up and you can print one off, PDF, and you have it, boom, right there. It's awesome, right? Or you can go to Office Max or Office Depot, like they have them there too. And they're just, these little fill in the blank, name of the landlord, name of the tenant, great. They have some good colloquial language in there. It looks kind of lawful, whatever, right? They kind of sell you on it. It costs whatever it costs. Let me tell you why that is horrible and why you should never fall for it or never do that. You need a lease that's prepared by an attorney, but not just any attorney. They need to be an attorney that's actually in the same city or even state at least that your property's in, okay? If your property's in Florida, you shouldn't have an attorney doing it out in California and vice versa. Because here's the thing. Each city or even county, okay, every county in every state has different laws that have to do with tenant-landlord relationships. Okay, I want to think about the example of weather, right? Let's think about Florida and Wisconsin. Okay, in Wisconsin, obviously it gets super cold during the winters, right? It's, sometimes it's negative temperatures. Florida, at best, if you're lucky, you get down to the mid 40s, okay? That's kind of the lowest it'll get, depending on what part of Florida you're in. So let's think about evictions. Let's think about the eviction clause in a lease, okay? An eviction clause in a lease that's off of Google, there's probably a pretty good chance that it's just going to be pretty generic and just, talk about the process that's involved and who's responsible and things like that. Well, think about the nuances of Minnesota and Florida, okay? Think about the wintertime. You really can't kick a tenant out in the middle of negative 30-degree weather up north because they're going to freeze to death outside, right? But that's not the case in Florida. In Florida, it's a lot easier. The law makes it a lot easier to do an eviction process. A lot of times it can be done in 30 days or less, which is really fast. And a lot of landlords that live up north say, wow, 30 days, that's really quick. And yeah, it is quick because there's usually not weather conditions that won't let the tenants stay outside or, get their stuff all moved outside. So I'm talking about little nuances like that. So again, going back to what I was saying, you have to have an attorney or a firm that's in the same city as your property because they're the local experts. They know the local law. They're going to prepare a lease that is exactly in accordance with, let's say it's Florida. They're going to go through the Florida statutes. They're going to know exactly what needs to be put into this lease. They're going to be customized to your actual property. Let's say you have a house that's $4,000 a month. It's golf access, and you have an awesome boat lift situation. You have 2 big, beautiful boat lifts. They've got canopies over them, and you're marketing towards a tenant that has a couple boats. Someone that's obviously well off, and they want to spend time out on the water. Well, what are you going to put in the lease about the boat lift situation? Where's the liability? How does that work? What happens if the tenant goes and puts his boat on the lift and the cable snaps and it comes back and decapitates him? Because that does happen sometimes with boat lifts. Those cables are really dangerous, okay? There has to be verbiage inside the lease that talks about that kind of stuff. So you need a lease that's customizable, okay? I'm not talking about just putting a little addendum on at the end that says I have a boat lift, I'm not responsible. We're talking an actual attorney here that's preparing the leases. Now you're probably thinking, yeah, that sounds really expensive. Well, I don't blame you. And you know what? I wouldn't say it's going to be very expensive, but it's certainly going to cost more than Google or going to OfficeMax and getting some horrible lease that has nothing to do with your property, okay? It's going to cost a little bit of money. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Christian, gosh, that sounds really expensive. And you know what? Yeah, it is, because you know what? Attorneys are really expensive. They probably charge you $100 just to call them up and say, hey, how you doing today, okay? That's just how attorneys are, which is fine. They should be paid for their knowledge. They know what's going on. You know, a lease agreement, anything like that could cost, $200, $300, $400, $500. It's just the way it is. It's expensive. But you know what? It'll save you a ton of money in the long run. But let me talk about the advantage, okay? There's an advantage as well if you do it through a property management company. That's good, okay? A good property management company should have established relationships that gives these firms a lot of business. And if you do it through a property management company that does this, that gives them a lot of business, that means you can get your lease agreements done for a lot cheaper. We're not talking in the hundreds of dollars, okay? We're talking a lot less, okay? So now you're saving money. You know that the lease is drafted through a proper attorney that the company has done business with for a long time, so there's no question about the quality of the lease, okay? Because it's good enough for this good property management company. Now here's the other kicker. This is an awesome thing. If you are doing business with this company, right, and therefore you're doing secondary business with the law firm typically will offer you free legal advice about your property. Okay, talking about that boat lift before. Maybe you decide to install the boat lift after the tenants moved in. Maybe it's 3 or 4 months in. You talk with the tenants, or the information is relayed through the management company. They say, look, the tenants really want to get a third boat if you already have 2, and they want to put that boat lift in. And they're willing to pay for it, right? Sometimes it happens. The tenants want something so bad, they'll pay for it, which is awesome. Now you're getting improvements in your property. The tenant's happy, you're happy. But you say, gosh, I really need to make sure legally I'm protected. I want to add this into the lease agreement. You can call up that attorney or have the property management company call that attorney, and they'll just add it in there for you for free because you've already given them your business. How awesome is that? You can't usually use the word attorney and free in the same sentence, but here you can. If you're with the correct company that has the correct relationships with an attorney, you're going to not deal with grenade pin leases. You're not going to explode into your lease, okay? You're never going to have those headaches, the issues of losing your cash flow, the issues of your properties being devalued, because you're going to be with the correct company, the correct lease agreement, and you're going to have great free legal advice from an awesome local attorney. And not to mention, just one more thing really quick, you have to think about what type of lease is going to be prepared from this attorney and the sense of who it protects, right? These attorneys are working for you. You're the ones paying them, okay? They know that the landlord is really the one that should be in charge. So they're going to actually draft the lease in such a way that it really is there to protect you, okay? It'll help you get out of situations. It'll make sure you're the one that's put back in charge. It won't make it so a tenant can do something that's scummy and kind of get out of the situation real quick. They're actually drafted to be protecting you. That was just one of the 27 cash flow killers that's waiting for you inside the full Masterclass, which you can download for free by clicking the link here or there. All you have to do is simply enter your details and you'll get instant access to the complete Masterclass training for free. You might be asking yourself, why is it free? And if I was in your shoes, I'd be thinking the same thing. We're planning on putting this on the market for $197 in the future, but before we do that, we need some documented success stories. So go on over, watch the full Masterclass, give us your feedback if you think it's worthy. With that, we'll see you on the other side. We can't wait.